Now, researchers in Australia have discovered the fastest growing black hole ever recorded, which swallows material equal to the mass of our sun every day.
It exists in a quasar, which is a swirling storm surrounding an active, supermassive black hole at the centre of the galaxy. But you knew that, didn't you?
Of course.
Yes. It's thought to be the brightest object in the universe, shining at about 500 trillion times brighter than our sun.
Wow.
Yes.
That's bright. It's official. That is bright.
Now, researchers in Australia have identified the fastest growing black hole ever recorded. This is an artist's rendition of it. It's so large, it consumes the equivalent of the sun each day. Well, I spoke with Christian Wolf, who's an associate professor at Australian National University and part of the team who made the discovery.
We found a black hole that is rapidly growing. There's lots of black holes out there, and when they're not eating anything, then they're really what the name says. They're black. They're not emitting any light. They are just sleeping giants hiding in the darkness of space. But it is when they eat matter, and especially when they eat lots of matter, that matter comes together to the black hole and swirls around in a storm-like disk around the black hole that heats up and releases a lot of energy. And that makes them really bright as trillions of stars all put together in the most extreme cases like here.
And what can these black holes tell us about the universe?
So one mystery is where these black holes actually came from. How have they been formed? Initially, we've been thinking black holes, we know how small black holes form. They can form in the collapse of a massive star that ends its life in a supernova explosion, where most of the star actually explodes into space, but its core remains as a tiny but massive black hole as a leftover. And then when they eat more matter, they could grow. And we've been in the past thinking that also these supermassive black holes that seem to be sitting at the center of virtually every galaxy, also the Milky Way has a black hole in the center, that they have started out from such collapsing stars in the early universe and then grew step by eating more and more matter. But what we're finding now that we're doing really demographic studies of the most extreme black holes in the early universe, we see that we have remarkably massive black holes already at very early stages. And we're wondering how to form them in the short time between the Big Bang and when we see them. So, for example, this black hole that we're now talking about, this most extreme one of them all, we see that 1.5 billion years after the Big Bang. So it's when the universe was really only 10% of its present age or something. And also the James Webb Space Telescope is making separately discoveries of not quite so fast growing and quite so massive black holes, but of black holes that are even closer in time to the Big Bang. And it seems to be that maybe these black holes have actually formed much before the galaxies around them, and maybe the stars came later. So this is really interesting times now, because our whole paradigm possibly needs to be turned upside down. I'm speculating here. It's early days to talk about this, but the voices are growing louder that think maybe we've been having the story upside down so far.